So I watched the new Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro when it dropped on Netflix. Sorry I didn't get the big screen experience, but I'm a bit of a homebody and my TV was right there. I'll be playing parts of various trailers as background for this, just letting you know. Anyway, I've seen lots of retellings of Mary Shelley's classic, and even more versions of the monster in an assortment of films unrelated to that novel. So I was going in with some idea of what to expect story-wise. I expected no big surprises and was mostly looking forward to the performances and Del Toro's visuals. I wasn't let down with regards to performances. Everyone did solid work, but none of it was especially impressive. Just solid work that served to tell the story well. The visuals were very good as well. I especially liked the scenes around the ship locked in ice and on board her, which means that the start of the film set the bar pretty high for me. Throughout the movie, I kept thinking, this looks good, that looks good, they did a good job on set design. None of it made me go, wow, that was a great visual, but then again, it might have been more impressive on the big screen. I sat close to my TV, but it's not the same thing. The visuals served to tell the story. The same goes for the costumes. I never said, wow, but they were good and didn't get in the way of the story. And that sums up how I judged the film. Solid, good, not especially impressive, but good. That shouldn't be a criticism, but it comes across as one. I guess I expected to be more wowed by Del Toro after seeing so many of his other films. The story, though, I felt let down. The plot points were there. Scientist has god delusions, tries to create life, succeeds, looks upon his creation as a failure and abandons it. The creation makes its own way in the world, befriends a kind blind man who teaches him to speak and read, and later seeks revenge, or understanding, or compassion from his creator. An important woman dies, the scientist chases his creation into a frozen wasteland, and perishes. The creature is left alone in the world. I've seen it before. Sometimes the scientist is to be pitied, sometimes it is the creature we should be sympathetic towards. Sometimes the creature is vengeful, other times longing for companionship and the love of his father in a way. Which one is the protagonist? Which one is the hero? It depends on the film, but I've seen all manner of retellings, so even with the tweaks Del Toro made, I didn't feel he trod any new ground. What really disappointed me was what I saw as a lack of character development, or rushed character development. Or maybe it is more of too much telling instead of showing. Since the movie followed the narrative device of the novel and had people telling stories to a ship's captain, someone who also got bare bones development, by the way, perhaps the film was too faithful to the source material in a way? Nonetheless, I was not emotionally invested in any characters at the end of the film, and was just waiting for it to end in the way I knew it would. Yes, it is based on a well-known novel that has been put to screen over and over again, so some element of predictability is inevitable. Del Toro added some of his own spices to the plot, but it wasn't enough to set it apart or bring anything new to the table. Maybe if the performances had been more than solid, better than good enough, I might have been moved. Or maybe I am old and jaded. Let me know if this film moved you in the comments. While you do that, consider leaving a like and hitting the subscribe button if you wind up enjoying this video. Everything helps. Victor was abused by his obsessive father into becoming a doctor. Victor was loved by only his mother, as his father's attentions turned to a younger brother whose birth took that very mother away. Victor, out of jealousy and loneliness, decides to be a better doctor than his father and conquer death itself. The creature, cobbled together from parts of the dead, awakens to behold his father, who gradually, I hope it was gradual since there are very few references to how much time is passing, who gradually resents his creation as it fails to develop intellectually and can only utter Victor's name. Victor grows more and more cruel, predictably echoing his own father's treatment of him when he was a boy. The girl, Elizabeth, fiancée to Victor's brother, she challenges Victor intellectually and he becomes smitten, aiming to steal her away for himself. Affection she rejects when he reveals it, having made her choice and intending to marry the brother. She has some fascination with insects, seeking out signs of God's presence in the insects, the smallest of God's works, after finding none in mankind, the greatest of God's works. Elizabeth is, for me, the character who had the most to offer, but didn't have enough screen time to become more than painted in the broadest strokes. When Elizabeth ultimately meets the creature, she has no fear. After watching it at play, floating some leaves down a drain out of the tower that has been his only world, she approaches him, touches him, teaches him her name, which he secretly repeats after she leaves. She wants to know who the man is, calling the creature he and him, while Victor calls his creation it. Elizabeth believes that God delivered the spark of life directly into this creature, making its soul the purest possible. Yes, Elizabeth brings the most to the table, plot-wise, but is not in the film long enough to make the most of these additions to her character. I won't get further into the plot, other than one large spoiler coming soon. If you've seen versions of Frankenstein before, you will know how things end up anyway. Here is the spoiler. The creature comes to Victor on the night of the brothers' wedding. The creature knows he is different and will never be accepted by the world, and he wants Victor to make a companion for him. Victor refuses, having been cured of his obsession. Angering the creature, Elizabeth enters the room and calms the creature, getting fatally wounded as Victor tries to end the life of his own creation. Yes, Elizabeth and the creature are in love. She is in love with this pure soul. As she lies dying, she asks the creature to take her with him, and he carries her tenderly down the stairs and out of the house as the wedding guests make way and look on in awe of this spectacle. Strangely out of nowhere, yet absolutely predictable at the same time, I felt like I was watching the last episode of a Frankenstein television series and missed all of the previous scenes where Elizabeth was more fully developed and this behavior more comprehensible. But this is the whole thing. No further development available. Anyway, if you want gothic horror, check out one of Del Toro's Hellboy movies. If you want some human monster love, The Shape of Water will suit you. Want fantastical visuals and imaginative storytelling? Pan's Labyrinth awaits. This is not Guillermo's best work by far, and it is not a masterpiece. There are better tellings of the story of Frankenstein to be seen. Heck, if you want a sympathetic creature, why not take a look at the rarely mentioned The Bride? Anyway, leave a comment if you agree, disagree, whatever you like. Am I off base here? If you enjoyed this video, leave a like to let me know, and consider subscribing to my channel for more videos on entertainment topics of all kinds. Thanks for watching. See you next time.